Hello and welcome to the Build With Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Bear. I'm here to build a model kit and hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the emote in the chat. If you're currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. Let me know and say hello. Love to hear from you. Aristophan is here and Harold is here. Welcome to the two of you. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it as always. Also, Harold, thank you for the host. Appreciate that as well. Dude, once it's Rugged here. Hello. It's been a hot minute. Happy to have you here on the old stream time. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing well out there. We're wait, the intro portion of the stream, we wait to see if folks don't want to come in. I'm excited for tonight. We are starting a new model kit because we finished the Barbatos on Thursday. So for Saturday, we are doing this kit, which I'll show the photo of right here, the Zaku II FS, Zaku II FS, which is a kit from the year 2002, thus making it almost a 20-year-old kit. It's a 19-year-old kit, which is old. It's not the oldest kit we've ever built on here because we built a few kits that came out in the 90s and we built the actual kit from the 90s. So it's one of the oldest kits I've built on stream. It's very interesting in many ways to me. One of the things I like the most about it is it starts with the weapons, which you don't see in kits ever. Sometimes they start with like the arms or they start with the chest or the head. This starts with the weapons, which is just a strange way to do things. I'm not complaining about it. I think it's neat that it's just like, yeah, build the machine gun and the bazooka and the rifle, the Zaku machine gun, the Zaku bazooka, and the Magella top cannon, which is an interesting piece of weaponry you don't see on Zaku's too often. Also, it does have the Heat Hawk, but I believe that's just one piece, which is just the axe. Let me see. I believe that's just one piece, so they don't even have us do this. Yeah. Yeah, that's just one piece, unfortunately. There's one piece right there. Um, this is not the first time that we will be doing a kit where all of the markers I'll be using one marker, which is just this Gundam marker in black. I mentioned this on Twitter. I mentioned it in the pre-show. There are no stickers for this kit. There should be, but they were not included. So was this a defect, 19 years ago? Or was this did someone sabotage this? Was this opened at some point and the stickers removed and then it was sold as new? I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you. I'm assuming it was a mistake and it was just, not caught because it was made and I imagine this kit sat in a warehouse somewhere for a very long time, and then somebody. What often happens with kits this old, and here's good information for you if you're interested. When you're dealing with a kit from the year 2002, you're asking yourself, Pat, how did you find this? Well, I found it on Amazon, and that means that somebody sold it on Amazon who most likely has a backlog of kits. This is not a collector per se or anything like that. This is somebody who most likely has a hobby shop or has come into possession of model kits from a hobby store and is now selling those as like an Amazon reseller. And so that's how you see these kits like just pop up kind of out of nowhere, and they'll pop up with like five limited stock, like five remaining or something like that, or even one remaining. They'll start with just one, and it's generally somebody who is trying to turn over a lot of product at once and selling through Amazon, where they will send the stuff to Amazon, and then Amazon will then do the shipping, just to try to get through their backlog. As I said, maybe they're a business that's closing, maybe they've just taken over inventory for somebody. You'll see this in a lot of stuff, but in this case, obviously with model kits, and that's how you end up with kits like that. Now, this was reasonably priced, especially for the kit. What ends up happening is kits that are harder to find but people know what they're doing, those kits are going to be $30, $40, $50. So if you want to like build a bunch of kits from Gundam X, you're probably your best bet to for that is to go to a store, a hobby, just to go to a bunch of hobby shops and hope you get lucky, rather than look for them online, because there just aren't there is an interest sometimes in those kits. Um, Same thing with like G Gundam. If you're going to buy the high grades from G Gundam, they are generally very hard to find because they made a certain quantity of them and then they didn't do re-releases of those kits. Your more popular stuff, you're going to find re-releases, you're going to find refreshes of them. You're going to find kits that come out. Let's say your popular stuff like Wing. Well, they're now just starting to put out the 2018 to 2020 plus kits, but also the 2012s. They made a lot of the 2012 re-release of the original 90s molds. So you can still find kits from 2012 that are Gundam Wing kits because it's fucking Gundam Wing. Um, but if you're looking for Gundam Age stuff, you're finding the first printing of Gundam Age kits. Ghost Valve says X Gundam and Turn A not be likely. Exactly. Gundam X stuff you can find popping up here and there, but usually it's like only a couple. And if you go to like the bigger stores, the bigger online ones, they will list them, but they will say they're out of stock. And it's very rare for them to get them because the bigger online stores are looking to get new product because they're trying to appeal to people that already bought Gundam X model kits. Um, you can find the Double X kind of it's probably the one you'll find most likely. Um, but if you want like the master grades are a little easier to find, but let's say that you want to build the Rose Gundam. That's going to be pretty tough to find the high grade of the Rose from G Gundam. Yeah, and Gundam X was never super popular, so it's going to be difficult to also High Ghost. It is going to be difficult to find those kits, and your best bet is, like I said, like pursue stores that have just gotten somebody else's inventory, and then they have it either they have no interest or they have no particular knowledge of how to get those online, so they're just gonna sell them for about what the other person was gonna sell them. This works pretty good for comics as well. I know less about comics than I do about model kits, of course, but other fandom and hobby stuff. You're always going to do well when, if you ever hear about a local store liquidating, going out of business, or selling their inventory to another store, that's when you might be able to get deals on things. Or if it's not a deal, find a hard to find thing. Like you're never going to find um, the Bebop for or the sword, not the Bebop, the Swordfish. They never made a figure of the Bebop, but they made a model kit of the Swordfish 2 from Cowboy Bebop. That's $80. No matter where you go, you're never going to find that for $30. Now, might they, when the live action Netflix series comes out, re-release? Could Bandai theoretically put out a new or just the old mold, but like a new number on it with it advertising with like the live action voice actor, live action actors, I should say, on the box? That's certainly possible. But until then, if you want to build the Swordfish 2, you're going to spend $80. And it also could be $100 next year. The last time I looked, it was about $80. And even small shops know it's worth that money. But there's so many Gundam series that somebody might put in a $15 high grade for a Gundam Age or a Regasta in G Gundam Recco kit. You might be able to pick that up for $20 because they don't know that those are a little harder to find. I don't know. These are some tips from me to you. Also, there's no good store near me. It is 50 plus miles away to get to a hobby shop that I know sells model kits. There's a place that says they sell model kits. They don't sell, they don't actually do it. They used to. But they still advertise they do, and that is annoying. Did I buy anything when I went in there? No, I did not, because I was mad. Because they still say on their website that they do, and that's frustrating. Um, it's very frustrating to me. I'm sure other people also. Uh, there's got to be somebody that went in there and are like, "Where's the stuff?" So, good evening, welcome, Isabel. Happy to have you here. We're working on the Zaku II FS, piloted by I believe 3 different individuals in the main timeline. Um, Again, this kit, this is the first time in 4 years of model kit streaming and additional several years of me building on my own. This is the first time in a total probably of, I would say, 11 years of model kit building over my lifespan that I have ever bought a kit that was shrink wrapped, opened it to discover it did not have stickers inside of it that it needed, or a missing piece or anything like that. That's a pretty great track record considering how many kits I've which I cannot tell you the number of. But yeah, this is the first time. This is a 2002 kit that I opened up and I was like, where are the stickers? And there weren't any. So I'm going to build a Zaku without the eye sticker, and that's a shame. The big red eye is not going to be on there. The scope isn't going to have a sticker. I actually don't know what else stickers are on this. Um, there weren't that many probably because this is a high grade, as I said, from the year 2002. So there probably weren't a lot of stickers, but oh yeah, there were stickers that would go on the arm, and there were okay, so there was that. Yeah, that's very strange. Um, yeah, and then there's the eye sticker. Yeah, so it doesn't look like there were too many stickers in this kit, but there were a few, and so that is a shame. Okay, yeah, so on the arm and the eye, and then the scope of the machine gun. Although the scope of the bazooka looks like it had a sticker, so that would be the first sticker that I would be putting on here. Well, maybe it doesn't come with one. Actually, it looks like it doesn't come with it. It looks like the photo has a sticker, but the actual kit doesn't. So that's fun. But yeah, I'm excited to work on this old kit. As I said, very strange. It starts with the weapons. That is very unusual for any model kit to start with building the weapons. So we'll start with. Also, I should say I don't do this enough, and I should do this more. Here's A, here's B, and here's C. So that's it. We got that, and we've got our polycaps. And that's it. That's all we've got. We got our polycaps, and we have three. Here, first. So, not much to this kit. I think I paid 20 something dollars for this. It just like I said, it just appeared on Amazon, with a small number of quantity. So this most likely was somebody just being like, "Hey, let's just put these up," which it benefits me, so I will take it. In 2002, you're going to see zero English in instructions. Maybe on the front, it will name things in English, like weapons, but there aren't going to be any instructions here on what you need to do to assemble anything. Like you're not even going to really see you're going to see part numbers, but you're not going to see numbers of like build order, like do this first. If you do see that, it is not in English. So you just got to do your best with it, which is okay, and we will. I want to thank everybody who watched my stream last night, Pat Bear's Anime Club, as part of PAX East Online. If you missed it, you can find it on a Twitch archive through the Penny Arcade. It was PAX 2, so a PAX 2 archive. It'll eventually be on the PAX YouTube channel, and it will be on my YouTube channel on Monday, which is, probably the easiest way for you to be able to find it. It's just I can tell you that on Monday in the afternoon, sometime between 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern, I will put that up. I don't know exactly when, but it'll be between then. Uh, so, um, so that's coming, and that was really good. We had a good live crowd. It was about ranging around 130 people watching it on Twitch, in the official channel, and then some people watching it. I know that Ian, who has a channel on Twitch, Tilty House, was hosting it, and then because he was going to be streaming directly after it, which was very very kind of him to host before. So I know that people watch there and people watched here. Isabella says, I have a perfect grade Zaku 2, Char's Zaku, and the perfect grade RX-782. I'm starting buying the high grade, the original kits, so I can have something small on my desk that is 7-9 related. I built Char's Zaku 2 that perfect grade. That is one of two perfect grades I've built. I built that, and I built the Wing perfect grade. Um, you may remember this because because the Zaku 2 is the first perfect grade that is for a Gundam. fun fact for people, we talked about this when I built that kit, it's actually the second perfect grade because the first perfect grade is from Evangelion. They did an Eva perfect grade and then they did a Gundam. And of course, they did the Zaku too. Um, uh, the Zeta Gundam. Yeah, yeah. Um, and that's actually the last time you're ever going to see something like that. One, that they would do a size, they would do a scale and have the first thing coming out of the grade um, be a non Gundam, but also the idea that the RX 782 wasn't the first thing in a grade is that I think that's the last time. At this point, there may be other instances like full. I don't count full mechanics and non-grades. I'm talking like when they introduce a new grade, like the only Gundam entry grade is the RX 782, right? When they introduce a new grade, they're gonna do that because that's now the tradition. But it is interesting that they made that then. Um, but yeah, thanks for folks that watched the panel. I think it was very fun. People seem to enjoy it. I was in the Discord, the official Discord uh, for PAX, and people seemed to be enjoying it. We had some good feedback. Now, um, I will say this: it's interesting to think about like for 130 something is pretty good for a online convention that isn't a big name, big draw. Uh, we were doing better than the other two streaming rooms at the time. Comparatively, we're doing better than everybody else, which is great considering that like names that would draw at a live convention doesn't equate to drawing at a online convention, right? So like I don't necessarily have the biggest name in the world as far as name recognition, where people will see my name and go, "Oh yeah, yeah, Pat Bear." There are people that know about me, but that's different in a live convention atmosphere, right? So in a live convention, you see the name of the panel, and you go, "Oh, it's a panel about anime. I'll go to that." Yeah, I don't have anything to do at 7 o'clock tonight. I'll go to that panel or whatever. That's way different than, ooh, there's a bunch of PAX panels this weekend. Oh shoot, I missed one of those PAX panels. Okay, like it's just a different energy when it's online. So in person, 300 to 500 people would have come to that, depending on the room size. With the guests I had, with two people from Loading Ready Run, who sometimes Ian will do one of his own panels. He'll do the late night dub fight, but Heather might not have been on any panel except for the Loading Ready Run panel. So if you want to see one of them, you're kind of preconditioned to go. Uh, that is not the sole reason why I invited them. Also, when I'm doing a live panel, I often invite people I know who are not afraid to talk in front of crowds and can be lively. Um, it has happened that I've had a bunch of Loading Ready Run people as my guests for Pat Bear's Anime Club, or in the case of Jacob, Loading Ready Run adjacent. Hey, Lashbrook, or friend of the site, family friend, you know, inspired a T-shirt that they sell. Um, but uh, but that's mainly because I know they watch anime, and also an audience will come and see them at a PAX. They have a lot of people who uh, one of the reasons why they go to PAX is to see the Loading Ready Run people. So they will go and see them on a panel. Um, but also, when I can go to PAX again, when it's safer to go to PAX, I will have other people because also I want to bring in some younger generations of fans because most of them are around my age, and certainly I am older than say Corey, but that doesn't. But like what the anime that she likes and I like are very similar. And so I would like to eventually bring in some youngins who maybe have some differing anime opinions. Because that's fun to be like, to hear what the kids are into. Especially since if the audience is going to be a little younger than I am, certainly younger than I am, because we had that there where, although I will say, We had one show that was in front of a live audience that I got to do because I've done two digitally, and then and one in front of an audience. And the one we did in front of an audience booed at the shows that I was happy they were booing, and that made me feel good. And I was like, yeah, all right. And then there were a few shows that got cheered that I was like, oh, you know this show? You like this show? That's rad. It felt very good to have that. So that I do I mean, I want to see people that I haven't seen in a long time. Obviously, I want to see people. I want to do cool things. I want to hang out. I want to try new panels and do the panels that I can't that I could do in front of a digital audience, but doesn't feel right to do. Um, but also, I want a big room full of people who are psyched to hear anime opinions. And then from what I heard from people tweeting at me after the event, and a few people that came up to me, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know anyone on the panel. I just saw that there was an anime thing at PAX, and there's never been an anime thing at PAX, so I came." And that made me very happy that people were like, I was like, "Oh yeah, shit, I should have been doing this for years." But I will say this: a couple of years before I did it, I don't know if I could have pulled off convincing someone to let me do a panel about anime. I might have had to say like, I might have had to title it like "Video Games or Anime," or something like that, or like "Best Anime Video Games that should just be an anime" or whatever. I might have had to like tweak it in some way, kind of like sell it. Whereas now I can just say, no, it has nothing to do with video games. People that like video games that go to a video game convention also like other things, so we could just talk about them. But I think I was afraid years ago, and it was a harder sell, like to do that. Like I could have just, and I probably could. I would attend based solely on your name, Pat, because I know who you are, and I love hearing what you have to say. Well, Isabella, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's also that's a beautiful gift that I do have, and I don't take that for granted. That people come to my panels like um, a company that will remain nameless did some improv shows at PAX a few years ago in Seattle. They rented a theater that's in the convention center. I went to that theater and I performed in that theater, and tickets were free if you had a PAX badge. And it was a bunch of people were like, "This is my first improv show. I came because you're doing it." And it's just like I can't express to you how much that like makes me feel, like how happy that makes me feel. That people were like, "Pat, I don't know anything about wrestling and I don't know if I want to, but like I want to go see this wrestling thing you folks are doing. It sounds great." And it's just like, we do not take that for granted. Just please know. There's some stuff that I do like improvise post-mortem, right? Like I think even if you're not like super into improv, like you could go to that show and you could be like, I get what this is. It's very funny people. They're doing a funny thing. They're making up some stuff. I get this. I'll go to this. Um, but like there are some things that I put together that I'm like, I don't know who this is for, and I hope I find the people that this is for, and they come to it. I'd love to see for it live. Tony says, "Hey Tony, welcome, welcome, happy to have you here." That's going to be harder. Um, I would love to. I am going to put thought into a version of 404ing it that I can do again. That I can do. The thing with 404ing it is that it involves homework. I've talked about this before. I use the term homework because it does involve research. Because look, there are some people who like when I asked Alex Navarro, "Hey, do you want to do this?" the first time, he said yes. And the next day, he sent me links. He didn't send me YouTube links. He sent me a Google Drive or a Dropbox, I can't remember which, full of video clips because he had video clips on his computer in a folder waiting to upload them because he was waiting for me to ask him to be on the show. That has never happened. That never happened before and has never happened again. Most of the time I'd be like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And people would be like, "Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't know what I would talk about." And then they'd send me like a bunch of ideas and we'd like narrow it down. Or I'd say like, "Well, what do you like to watch? What's relaxing for you?" Like, what's a thing that you like? I'd have to like help people figure it out, and then they have to send me links to things, and then I have to do a bunch of work. Uh, but like that's not sustainable. Um, and I want to find a version of 404ing it that I could do that people like would be psyched about taking part in that doesn't require them a lot of homework. Improvised anime is perfect because it requires no work. I remember that first one, and none of your panelists were quite sure what your panel was. Yeah, and that makes sense. Like Pope got it because Pope like had been to. There's a show that is not Trash Night is nothing like what I do, but Trash Night is a found footage night that ran in Boston. So Pope like understood that of like, okay, I'm going to send him things and we're gonna like talk about them. Um, uh, Chris kind of got what I was going for, and in fact, he helped me out a lot because some of the things he wanted to talk about were like commercials. So they were easy to find, they were easy to procure, and some of them were about video games, which was nice. But yeah, that first show was tough because like people were just like, "I'm not sure what you need from me. I'm not sure what this show is." Um, and then over time, people got it because they had seen the show. They would like come to it and they understood. But that show is homework. Improvised postmortem requires no homework. My panelists just show up and have fun. Um, as long as they are not nervous to perform in front of people, that's the only hurdle in the show. Everything else is a cakewalk and easy and enjoyable. It seems like they have a good time doing it. Uh, you know, if they didn't have a good time, they didn't let me know that. So that's great. They kept it to themselves if they weren't having fun. Uh, Pat Bear's Anime Club does require some homework. I ask people to tell me the names of anime that they want to talk about so that I can. But here's the thing, they can tell me that the day before because all I really need to do is find an image of it. And then if one of my guests picked a show I wanted to talk about, I have to go into one of my backups. Like if you watched last night, Heather picked a show she wanted to talk about. That was one of my shows that I wanted to talk about. So I picked a different one, which is totally cool. And I had no problem doing that because I always have a bunch of shows. Like Non Non Biori was a replacement for another show that I wanted to give a shout out to. And I'm going to talk about Non Non Biori in the future because it rules. And that's a show that I think more people should watch because I think they would fall in love with it. So I'm probably not the next one, but in the future, I will probably give a more detailed look at that show. Um, I'm even going to scale that show back some. I'm planning on scaling back Pat Bear's Anime Club in the future to one recommendation at the end, one quick pick, because we don't really have time for everyone giving two. But if everyone has the two shows they want to talk about and the quick picks, then I can, because I'm still like, this is the third time doing it. So I'm still a little hazy on timing and how to move things around and all that. I was very ambitious the first time I did it because I had three guests and I told them to tell me five shows they wanted to talk about. And then as we did the show, I went, we do not have time for this. What was I thinking? But what I didn't want to do, which I should have been okay with, was just being like, "Hey, just bring a show you want to talk about," because we could have filled time for an hour. Eventually, it might just become that. Uh, it won't just become that. It'll probably just be the next thing. But I'm revising it as I go because I think like I'm figuring out how the show works better now. As I do it. Okay, we got our weapons done. I'm gonna pop out the hawk here just because it's one piece. We'll just pop it out there. As I said, unusual to be building all of the weapons here. I could panel line these, but I'm not really going to worry about it. Like they're all solid one color. The black marker isn't really going to do anything for this, so I'm not going to worry about it. Um, but yeah, I will eventually learn like more about how to do that panel as I get to do more panels in the future. I'm very excited that I have the opportunity to do conventions. I have no plans to be attending um, PAX West this year. Look, if that changes, it's because someone wants to bring me out to do a thing or be on a thing or something. I don't expect that to happen. If it does, I will let you know, but I'm not making plans myself to go out there. I think it's too soon for a convention of that scale. Um, but also, like I said, there are other conventions that I don't plan to go to unless somebody pays me to be there, in which case I will probably go. Um, Specifically Anime NYC or um, New York Comic Con. But right now, who knows? Uh, and we'll see about how these events do. Somebody asked me about. Um, it was very funny because I got a private message about like, well, what about like PAX Australia? Like they're, they don't have all the vaccine, but they're handling things really good there. And I was like, oh no, they're not. I mean, they are, but they when they opened up the borders more, now they have more cases, and they're going to. I think Australia, parts of Australia, I believe in, are in a second lockdown. So no, I'm not going to go to Australia for PAX Aux. I feel like that event might not happen. Also, I have a feeling that some other events won't happen, but some will, and that's weird. I mean, look, there was last year in August of last year, so the year 2002, there was a very small anime convention that happened. They just did it. They just went and did it. And there weren't like big names, but there were people performing. Um, they said attendance was down. There was still attendance. And that seems like foolish, in my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what what choices people make and if there are going to be conventions. I don't know. There was a small gaming convention last weekend in South Carolina. It was like 4 hours away, and so even if I was going to attend, I wouldn't attend that one. But yeah, no. I mean, I'm vaccinated, but also trying to make sure that my folks don't get COVID because one of them is immune compromised, and so that's not going to be great. All right, we'll put some panel. We'll do some panel lining on these feet. There's nothing like super detailed to put on these, but we'll hit some of the curves here, kind of clean those up a little bit. Very light. This is very lightweight. It's just a couple pieces. There's a lot of like dead space in this. But we'll hit it with the black. We're just using the black marker, so I didn't even put up the little notification of like what color we're using on there, the color guide. The color guide is mostly for me to remember between streams, so I'm not worried about that. Here's the thing I want to talk about. Um, First, real quick hits. I feel very bad for Elgato because there's a new revision of the Stream Deck, and their announcement of that was also the same day as the Steam Deck announcement. And I feel bad because that is very poor timing. And the Steam Deck and Stream Decks are different. And maybe one shouldn't be called what it is. And maybe the one that came out first, but is from Elgato and not Valve, maybe should think about changing their name because it will be confusing it to a very small percentage of people at some point, but it will be confusing. Um, but yeah, gotta feel bad about that. Uh, and yes, they could have called it the Gabe Gear. They weren't gonna ever call it the Gabe Gear, but they could have called it that, which is a funnier name. You're not wrong. People that have had this thought, you get it. I hear you. They had a bunch of announcements that day. I'm sure they're fine. Yeah. Uh, oh, Harold, great to hear you reporting podcasts again. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just like, here's the real thing is, why are they calling it a deck? Right? Like that's my thing. Why is Valve calling that a Steam Deck? I don't like that's a weird to me. That's just a weird name. Like it's these. Like it's like a Stream Deck makes sense of what that piece of equipment is. A Steam Deck to me doesn't make sense because that's not a like if you want to call it the Steam like Steam Box, that's the problem, I guess, right? Steam Box is already a name that they used, which is descriptive. Uh, or the maybe Steam Machine. Steam Machine, I still think is a fucking cool name, but it's like pulling out your skate deck, says dude wants to rock. I mean, maybe, yeah. I guess, yeah. It's like a skate deck kind of thing. All right, so what are we working on here? Can I do two of these, or I'm doing one of these? These are identical, right? Yeah. Or so yeah. I'm doing all this times two. I believe here, right? Yeah. Yes, because we did the foot here. We're doing all of these steps. I believe are times two. I'm going to look ahead here. Do that. Do that. That. Yes. Okay. So we got to build the legs now. We can do it. Tech deck, indeed. The Steam Boy. Yes, the Steam Boy is also uh, a more descriptive name that I know they wouldn't go with, but is a better name than the Stream Deck. I did the Steam Deck. I said Stream by mistake. Um, it's GameSpot and GameStop all over again, where it doesn't affect that many people, but it does consistently bother some folks. Uh, that was a small little thing I want to talk about. The bigger thing I want to talk about with y'all tonight, before, of course, the second hour where I'm going to talk about improv, because that's what I do on here, is Monday. Monday has a little significance. Now, technically, it's a Tuesday. That is the anniversary of my very first stream 4 years ago. But I'm not streaming on Tuesday. I'm streaming on Monday. So we're going to call Monday my 4 year anniversary, because Wednesday I'm just playing a video game. So I want my anniversary stream to be a stream where I build model kits. So I'm doing that. So we're calling Monday the 4 year anniversary of the Build With Baer Workshop. Uh, Steam this purchased allowed Gabe to buy 5 knives. Yes, yes, indeed. Just be like knife purchase. But anyway, yes, last work I did know. I took me a second there, but I was like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So 4 years. Will there be changes to the Build With Baer Workshop? Not any drastic ones. Certainly not the times or the days or anything like that. But I'm going to give it a little bit of an overhaul. I think it's finally time for me to refresh the overlay. The first thing that will change is the borders around myself and the image. I've liked these pride borders very much, the rainbow borders, but I think I'm going to go for something a little bit more consistent, like a one color. And I also am experimenting right now with a border, overlay border around the actual whole image for this overhead. So around the whole thing. I don't know how that's going to work. I am experimenting with it. I didn't do it in the first time because you do lose some real estate. But I like the idea that, like, when I play games, that I could have that as well, and then have the overlay like fit underneath it. So I'm experimenting. I played around with some overlays. You may have seen my PAX overlay, because they were like, we're not going to supply you with overlays this time, but if you want to use them, do it. And so I just like took the old PAX overlay and edited it and changed it around because I liked it. Uh, and so I played around with that because I thought that was neat. I don't know if I would, so I am going to play around with it a little bit, but yeah, it's still a bit of a refresh, like nothing serious, not a serious refresh. But I think it will be neat to play around with how the stream looks a little bit. Still overhead, still me here in this corner. And for video games, I go to the other corner because I like that. I like changing that up. My background image for my intro, I will probably change and refresh because I've had this since the beginning of June. So probably time to mix that up, use the 4 year anniversary as a way to do that. I had plans at some point to eventually finally pay someone to use to make me a logo and not use the free to use logo that I use. That is not going to happen this year because those funds are better allocated to model kits than to artwork. But that is a plan. At some point, I will do that. But I'd like to be a little more consistent in the income that I have coming in before I start spending money on design work because I, want someone to do a good job and I want to pay them a fair wage for their time and effort. Because that's what you do. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, so maybe this isn't doing all of all the other. Okay, so we're just maybe doing one at a time. So put that there. We'll put that there. I guess we are just doing one arm and then one arm, or one leg and then the other leg. That's fine. We'll do that. Hey, words maybe welcome. Working on a model kit, talking about Monday is my 4-year streaming anniversary. So please come to that. It's not going to be anything like unique. I'm going to continue working on this kit, right? Like I'll have more of this kit to do, so I'll be doing that kit. But we'll kind of do like a little bit of a like thoughts of like if you have favorite moments that you feel like sharing, you'll be more than welcome to do that on Monday. I'll talk about some of my favorite stuff, like some of my favorite kits, and all of that. Tony says, congratulations. Well, thank you very much, Tony. Appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, like, it'll mostly just be looking at that. So that means that I have almost been an affiliate for 4 years because I got my affiliate pretty quickly because thankfully my folks wanted to keep watching the streams and I had consistent streams since the beginning and consistent viewership on those streams. So I was able to or be offered affiliate pretty quickly, which is rad. Um, I have the hours and the consistent hours and consistent days to apply for partner, but I have never had the viewership numbers. And of course, having those numbers does not certainly guarantee in any way, shape, or form the actually becoming a partner. Uh, so that's not like a thing. But uh, I certainly am nowhere near ready for that. Maybe someday, but certainly not right now. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Uh, but yeah, yeah. I know some people go with the partner push, but for me, I would just like my viewership to be consistent stream to stream, and that is not always the case. Look, I got a bunch of lovely, lovely folks here. Always happy to have you here. Some people that come in consistently, some people that come in weekly, some people that come in every stream. I appreciate you very much, everybody. If you watch later, if you're watching on YouTube after the fact, all that stuff. Hey, Dirty, welcome. I appreciate all of the people that give any time to my shenanigans. I very much appreciate that. But it is it the right one? All right. But yeah, we're just not hitting the consistent viewer numbers that I would need to make a part push. So I'm not worried about that right now. I'm mostly just worried about are people enjoying what I do and having fun. And if that's true, then great. Then I will keep doing it. Um, the hope is that people would continue to have fun, and if they don't, I don't know. I'll figure something else out. But yeah, so I'm excited about Monday. Mostly, like I said, the only real difference on Monday's stream is I'm going to mention, we'll say in the name that it's a 4-year anniversary, and that I will make attempts to get tomorrow. I have dedicated some of my day and maybe my evening, if need be, to work on refresh, like kind of just like looking at some options for overlays, looking to switch up my colored overlays and my intro, changing that up a little bit and how it looks. Um, and we'll see. I mean, I might just do like some cool overlay stuff and just like a black background for my intro instead of an image so that I can have my text on there. Be easy to read for all of the things that I'm promoting. Um, it is a little bit of a shame that Yeah, my 4 year, it didn't sneak up on me, but like I really wanted to promote more my panel, which happened last night. So I was like, well, I'm gonna do that. All Comic Sans are Wingdings. Yeah, I mean, look, Wingdings is a fun idea of like trying to put important information like the names of people of subscribe or not subscribers, but like the pop up activity stuff of like when people follow or subscribe or host. Like it'd be kind of funny to have that in Wingdings, but no, I do want to like that is a nice shout out that I can give people is like who subscribed. So uh, my old when I was doing 4:3 for this camera, I used to have that text because I had a lot of dead space. But now I have 16:9, go widescreen on my build, which gives me more of a build, window. So I don't have that text up there. And at first I was like, oh, that's kind of a shame. But then I was like, no, it's better that you can just see things instead of just like text. I do it in the intro and the pre-show, and I think that is fine. But yeah, um, the other thing I want to okay, so there's no update about AnimeTube. I don't think we're gonna get. The only way we're gonna get another update is if they make another public statement that I get word of. And I feel like their press release is just like, well, we've got to do it so that we can point at the press release as we go move on to stage to new scam because I think this scam is dead for them. Um, I don't know. I can't claim to know if they're going to continue on with the scam. I mean, they do have their pay us $1 to get our premium VIP newsletter, which is an interesting newish scam. I mean, it's not a new scam but that is interesting. I haven't seen Kickstarter scams pull that off. But yeah, I mean, like there was a fairly new message from a backer in their Kickstarter that was just like, "So is this done?" And then they were linked to that. I thought you said Anime 2 when I'll finally sequel to Anime. No, Anime Tube, or AniTube, as some people were trying to call it, even though AniTube is a thing. Um, I always like to watch one streamer show when I resub because he has the Yub Nub celebration scene play in the lower right corner of his stream when someone subs or resubs. Ooh, that's fun. Yeah, I just have the overlay. Um, uh, I do like that, like, um, some people play around with stuff like Ben Wheeler has when you resub on his channel, he has a friend of his in who basically was saying like a playfully insulting thing about him, which I think is like a fun weird thing. Um, yeah, people have different kind of celebrations and words and stuff, quotes from other things and all that. I keep it simple. Your message shows up on screen. Your name comes there. It's one of the default sounds for Streamlabs. I kind of just go with that. Um, but I understand how and why people get wild with it, and I think that's totally okay if you want to get wild with it. If you're a streamer that wants to get wild. But yeah, so AnimeTube. I don't think we're going to see any updates about that. I check in every once in a while to see if they're going to do another press release or like their last press was like we're working with Kickstarter, and it's like no, you're not. You may have sent emails to someone at Kickstarter, but like when Kickstarter suspends something, it doesn't come back. Like I don't have an example and could not find an example of Kickstarters that like returned. That just doesn't happen. Uh, like once you're suspended, basically, if you're suspended, unless it was part of a malicious campaign against you, Kickstarter looks bad if you come back because they already look bad that that you exist in the first place, and also the fact that you were made uh, a project that they love. Like that's a bad sign. So even for just to save any face, Kickstarter is not inclined to be like, yeah, you know what, you're good, everything's good. It's just like, no, you're not coming back. You're just not. It's just not going to be a thing. Uh, they'll have their reasons. They don't need a reason. Um, but here's the thing, right? They raised before their thing was suspended, so they'll never see that money. Uh, that Kickstarter raised over $100,000. Um, so AnyTube a legit internet website or one of those pirate sites that will steal all your info and turn your PC. So AnimeTube, so AnyTube, I believe is one of those like list the anime you're watching kind of sites. This is separate from AnimeTube, which we're talking about. So AnimeTube is a Kickstarter. Now, does it sound like a pirating site? It sure does. AnimeTube sounds like a pirating site. It's not. I mean, it's a scam, but it's not the scam you're talking about, Dirty. This was a Kickstarter that was trying to raise money to have a legit app that would compete with Sony, because they were just like, we're competing with Sony. That the plan was they were going to make this app that was great for mobile, and they were going to license anime, uh, and they were going to raise not enough money. And here's the thing: it was full of all these liars, right? Full of liars lying. They could have lied and said, "Hey, just so you know, the money we're raising here isn't for us getting so they could have said the money we're raising is just for the app. We're just raising money to get the app working. We have we have money from angel investors or big time cool people are giving us money to get the licenses." They could have just said that. They could have lied that way. Instead, the lie they tried to tell was it's not expensive to get licensed to license anime. The expensive thing is if you want to distribute media, like physical media. That's where it's expensive, or have like television rights. But if you just want to stream something, that's not expensive. And people that tell you that are liars. And that's like, or misinformed. And you're like, no, that's not true. Why is that your lie? Why is like that lie that people look at and go, that doesn't seem right, because it isn't. Like, why was that your lie? Why wasn't your lie that you had other money? Because there are some people that are like, oh, I just figured they had other money coming in. Like, no, they were saying the Kickstarter was to do that. And then eventually they were like, in some fine print, they were like, we'll probably end up doing additional Kickstarters to raise additional funds to get other stuff. And it was like, oh, well, that's not clear. You did not make that clear. That seems like a thing you should make clear to people. Anyway, that's a scam. It was clearly a scam. They probably got some people's money for this mailing list, but it won't be enough for them to go away forever. So there will probably be a different scam down the road with some of these people. Although maybe the guy is gonna have to, disappear for a while because he has creditors, which is hearsay and not a conjecture based on some people digging into his financials. That is not me. I am not reporting on anything. I am not making any claims. I am just saying I do believe it was a scam. I originally thought it was just naive people who didn't understand how much things cost. But the more I looked into it and the more they talked about things, no, this was not naive. This was clearly trying to. Because I look, I get that. I get it. You want to take on the man, right? Sony's buying Crunchyroll. They already bought Funimation and Aniplex. You gotta, like, yeah, like they got Anime Labs for their, UK and stuff. They got another one that starts with a W. I can't remember which is some of their European. Like Funimation's gonna have all of them. You got like other than Right Stuff and a couple smaller things, but you want to take them on. And also, they were right. The Funimation and Crunchyroll have bad mobile apps. That doesn't mean shit to me because I don't want to watch anime on my phone. I want to watch it on my computer monitors. Um, in a tab while I have other things going on in another window, another monitor. But like, I get why some people are like, no, this sucks. Apps need to be good. So they had the right call. And of course, the us versus them underdogs, the underdogs that want that turn to Kickstarter to raise money. Like I understand that. To me, the whole we're gonna we're going to Kickstarter and the people are gonna fund it feels very like 2016, not very 2021, but that happens. Speaking of used to sound cooler in the past. Hey, if you have anything on Vimeo, you should probably look to have that on somewhere else because uh, this is not a huge story per se, and it's actually been a thing that has been going on for a bit for some people. But uh, basically, if you host things on Vimeo and it's popular, eventually Vimeo comes to you and says you need to pay for this bandwidth, which is just like okay. And most likely it is part of an ongoing process of Vimeo, a site that does still exist and filmmakers still use because you can have a password on Vimeo. So you can have people, you can send press things out for your documentary or just passes that just have the password to it and the link. And so a lot of like indie filmmakers and documentary filmmakers, that is how they distribute their product. Like that is the service that they look to provide. Um, just hope it's not a huge hit because then they're going to ask you for money. But most likely that company is looking to, and there's been some evidence of like them talking about it, is looking to get out of the creator business and into the very profitable peer-to-peer solutions. Like basically they have created software that is basically Zoom, but big companies will pay for it because big companies don't want to use things that are free. They need to spend the money they have, so instead they want something that costs money. So basically, they're just looking to do that. They're looking to be that kind of a thing and get into countries. And you can't get into some markets if you have a bunch of nonsense that you were protecting the rights of. Uh, and you if you don't have videos on your site Vimeo, then you can't be sued for taking down a controversial video because you're by not having it on your site, you're somehow not allowing someone their freedom of speech, even though they're hosting it there, and it's not that's not. But if people got money, they can try to take you to court, which is a thing that was also happening to Vimeo in the background. So basically, Vimeo is just going to start taking stuff down, or like for Fatal Farm, they could pay them instead $100,000 a year to keep their videos. It's like no, no, because they don't make any money on that video. So that's just like, hey, we're gonna delete your account. It's like, okay, that's not extortion because $100,000 is unreasonable. That's a, oh, we don't want your stuff announced. That's a announcement that they don't want their stuff because they would do a payment plan of some sort or some ridiculous amount of money that was still more feasible if they actually wanted to get the money because they don't want the money. They just want you gone. But they don't want to just start closing people's accounts without due process or a reason for it because they want to milk people for the money they're paying them yearly to host their things as long as they can as they transition into becoming a new company. Businesses are shady. Vimeo became popular. Literally, if you don't know about Vimeo, all you need to know is Vimeo took off because College Humor didn't upload their own videos and didn't upload things to YouTube. And they needed a place to put the prank war videos that they were doing in the early days of Crunchyroll. Their very first original content was accidental. It was a prank war between two people that worked for College Humor, and they put those videos up on Vimeo. And because people at College Humor had fans, they went to Vimeo to watch it and then started watching other things on Vimeo. Congratulations, they lucked into being success because of all the sites, that's the one they picked because it was also done by people in New York and somebody knew somebody, and so Streeter put a video up on Vimeo, and that's the fucking story of Vimeo. A couple dudes trying to make a cool website where you could upload video securely and put it behind passwords if you wanted to, and then people were like, "Yeah, I'm putting up prank war videos on here because Sam hadn't been able to convince them to let to that for College Humor to host their own videos, and then they did, and then they put them on their own site so they could make money, and they put everything on YouTube because that was actually where money was Anyway, uh, those are the three things I wanted to talk about on stream, and probably a little bit more. But we're going to take a pause for the cause. I'm going to talk about ways you can support the channel if you'd like to. You're under no obligation to do any of the things I'm going to suggest right now, but if you'd like to, that would be rad. I'll talk about ways you can financially support me, and then also ways you can just by being a chill, cool person, and for no money. Um, you can do that if that's something you'd like to do. Um, as we work on and I'll come back and continue working on Garma's suit here, the Zaku II FS. Um, but first and foremost, if you're currently a subscriber, hey, why don't you throw the Bear Cave, the leg of the scythe emote in chat? Let the people know that you are a subscriber here. This is you don't see ads before the stream, when you click on it and you come to watch the stream, because you're a subscriber, you don't have to see any ads. But also, you get cool emotes. Words maybe threw them in there. Appreciate that. These emotes were all made by Xandra, who is a fantastic woman out there. Just a killer cool lady, just doing cool shit and being the best. But Xandra made all my emotes, and the tier 2 emote is of course the scythe emote. It's me as a Gundam, because that's just the thing I paid my friend to make me a Gundam. It's great. But anyway, subscribing using your Cash Money or your Prime Gaming token. If you Amazon Prime linked with your Twitch, you get that token. If you're not using it for me, please use it for somebody, because you will be doing them a big old favor. You could join the gift sub leaderboard. Aristofan has gifted a sub. Also, somebody else gifted subs, but that didn't show up there, and that's weird, but that happened. But Aristofan gifted some subs. You could gift some subs and join the leaderboard there, which will be rad. Also, you could join Harold and Sap, Sapik. Hey, welcome, Akiko. You could join them in the bits and coins, the cheerleader board. That's a thing you could do if you were so inclined. You're under no obligation to do that, but you could. It would be neat. Again, you don't have to do any of those things, but if you want to, that would be cool. We're going to talk about ways you can support the channel financially here is by joining my Patreon. I got a Patreon, so maybe $5 a month through Twitch. That's not something you're interested in doing. What about doing it through Patreon? $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. If you're watching this later on YouTube, what's up YouTube? You can find all these links in the show description below. If you're watching this later in the VOD, you can just click over to see the chat and find all this. If you're like, Pat, I've heard this 1,000 times. Thanks for watching me 1,000 times. Appreciate that. But also, just hang out. I'll get back to building in a moment or two. But I gotta do my promos. So Patreon, I mentioned I have a YouTube. You could join my YouTube. I got a membership thing there. It's $2 a month. You get one video a day early. So every Tuesday, you get my Wednesday video. So you could do that. You could be among the first people to see the first episode of my new series starting next Wednesday, because I'm retiring Bear With Me and starting up Best of Build With Baer. So you can watch the first ever Best of Build With Baer on Tuesday if you're a $5 or $10 patron, or if you've subscribed to my YouTube. So you got those options there. Let's see, what other things can you do that I can say? Oh, direct donations, because everything I make through direct donations, through Patreon, through Twitch, through ads, Google AdSense, because of YouTube videos and stuff, and subscribing there, goes to buying model kits and equipment. Very late on equipment. I generally focus on buying model kits. This model kit I bought here was because I have a fund of money that comes in from y'all that goes into me buying kits so I can continue to build shit. And I really appreciate that. So anywhere you want to donate, it's a one-time donation, like I said, through Streamlabs or Coffee. If it's, coming in with a monthly subscription somewhere, that rules, and thank you very much. My Amazon wish list. You could join my Amazon wish list if you'd like. And if you not join, you can go to my Amazon wish list. Sorry, I don't know. And you can buy something there, and then it will come to me, and I'll shoot a video about it, and then it will jump the queue, and I'll build it. Now, somebody bought me a little Haro. I can see, because I had a Haro here on my list, a little Haropla, and it's off my list, which means somebody bought me a cool ball with a dragon tattoo on it. So I'm going to build that whenever it arrives, but I'll shoot a video about it. So yeah, if you want to see that, you can buy something there, and I'll shoot a video, and it'll jump the queue. Hey, the Bolt Gundam from G Gundam. Yeah, it's $10 shipping. Who knows when it's going to arrive? Let me look at that. But it was right now. It's $10 plus $10, $9 plus $10 shipping. So like, I put that in there. There's one left. If you want to see me build the Bolt Gundam, I will build the Bolt Gundam. It's so weird that it showed up. It just like in me looking at stuff, it was suddenly there, and I was like, well, that price is right, being that it is very inexpensive, and yeah, it's weird that it has that shipping price, but whatever. So I put that on the wish list because I was like, I mean, why wouldn't I? So yeah, I don't know. Maybe you want to pick that up for me. You could. There's a bunch of stuff on my wish list. Um, and like I said, I add to it constantly. So I've got high grades, master grades, Lego sets, inexpensive kits, super expensive kits, um, kits that I'm like, I put the Gaian in there. Why not? Gaian Revive? Put that in there. I can't remember how it's pronounced. I put that in there. That's a nice little nightly mobile suit. Put that in there because why not? Yeah, inexpensive kits, very expensive kits, a bunch of equipment at the end. Just stuff that I would like to build. And if you want to buy it, I'll build it on stream because that's just the thing that we can do together. Um, an alternative is you could buy me a gift card to USA Gundam Store. Now, if you get a gift card to USA Gundam Store, you buy that, they send you an email with that gift card code. Then you take that code, you send me a DM on Twitter because my DMs are open, a whisper on Twitch because you can message me here on Twitch if you want. And you're just like, hey, here's a code. I'll take that code. I'll buy something on USA Gundam Store. I'll shoot a video and treat it like you bought some from Amazon because it's nice to have alternatives. So that's the thing you can do if you want to do it. You don't have to want to do it. I appreciate that very much. You can join my Discord, which is free. People post build photos. I mean, we just at Lastbrook just posted some photos of their trip to see live wrestling for the first time in a very long time, which is fun. And you know, you can promote yourself in there. It's a nice little community. It's very laid back, and so feel free to join that. I got a couple of video links to share with you. So I talked about Pat Bear's Anime Club and how on Monday there'll be a new episode. If you missed my last episode, I just want to share it again. Pat Bear's Anime Club. This was the spring wrap up and the summer preview. And not every summer show has actually aired yet. The last one airs on the 22nd, if you can believe it. So, and next Thursday, finally, the last show of the season will air. But just about every other show has shown up, has come out yet. So that's a good, like, kind of introduction to what are the big shows that, the shows that I'm interested in, the shows that I had no idea what they were. Maybe Nighthead hasn't started yet. Nighthead, I think, actually, Nighthead 20, whatever it is, 2070, whatever. The best, worst name for an anime, Nighthead. Terrible name. I don't know. It might not have actually the first episode might not come out, but look, I eventually will watch a show called Nighthead. Just I don't want to watch it. I actually just don't want to watch it. It sounds bad. Anyway, also the last Bear With Me. Bear With Me was a reaction series that I was doing. I am now done watching or done doing Bear With Me because I didn't enjoy doing the series, so I'm closing that series down. And I went out with a bang. The last Bear With Me is a meta take on it. It's me reacting to the news that I am stopping Bear With Me. And then next week I will begin the best of Build With Baer, which is your reminder, folks. If you ever see a segment on any of my streams that you think is fun or funny or weird or honest and true and cool, click the clip button, make a clip of it. I look at those, and I'm going to start looking at those more. I will take the clip. I will add baked in subtitles because I don't do that with my regular programming, but I'd like to do that with like something, and that's what it's going to be. So I'll be adding clips to that. Clip it. That's the ticket, says Harold. Yes, to steal a line from Ian Horner, clip it. That's the ticket, which you could do. You could clip something, and then it might eventually be in that series. I think I have like 5 of them done, which is not enough to get me until the end of the year, but I think we'll be okay. And then I'm going to start going into old videos and like pulling out long, like pulling it off of Twitch is really easy because once you clip something, if you clip something or I clip something, then I can just hit the download button and download an MP4, and which is way easier than opening up Movie Maker or Final Cut and then scrubbing to find a clip in a 2-hour video and pulling out 35 seconds or 1 minute of fun. So if you want to clip something from me, you'd be helping me out a lot. It's way easier. And the quality doesn't have to be great. And also, I'll be uploading those natively to Twitter as well. Because why not? Because they're easy to do. Anyway, I'm going to talk about some anime. I'm going to drink some water. I'm going to keep building. But yeah, I've got 4 anime shows to talk to you about that aired um, uh, since the last stream. So let's get that prepared. Yeah. Um, if you're like, Pat, were half of them isekai? Yes. Half of them were isekai. You know me. I'm watching almost every isekai that's out this season. There are literally 3 isekai that I'm not watching. Or yes. So I got some isekai to talk about. Uh, Sunny Boy does not appeal. Visually, Sunny Boy looks really interesting. I like Madhouse a lot, but the idea of a battle royale in a weird dimension does not appeal to me. It might appeal to you, so I'm not watching Sunny Boy, or I'm not interested in watching that. The Dungeon of Black Company, that main character might become a cool dude, but he starts off really shitty. And the first episode, I was just like, I don't want to watch this, so I didn't because there's a lot of anime out there. I might change my mind, but I don't think so. Um, and I will. I am not watching it weekly because. Oops, what happened? I took this out and there it is. I'm not watching it weekly, but I will be watching. I'm Standing on a Million Lives season 2 probably when it ends because I want to know if they're going to reveal any information about the overarching plot, but the day-to-day plot points of it do not interest me. I think it's interesting to have a completely despicable, unlikable main character, but that also isn't enjoyable. So while it's interesting that they're doing that, it doesn't make me want to watch it. But I can appreciate going for the we're gonna have a shitty dude who has opportunities to grow as a person and refuses them at every turn. And I'm like, that sounds bad and I don't want to watch it, but good for you for sticking to your guns and make it a bad show. I can't believe that show got greenlit for its second season while the first season was airing. It's popular enough. People like it. I can't see it. Um, the other thing about I will say this, the other thing about I'm Standing a Million Lives that I find it fun is um, one of the minor character, a minor major character in the show, or major minor. She looks at this world and herself as a wizard through the eyes of being a magical girl, and I think that's fucking awesome. I think that's very cool that she is like a that kind of otaku, that kind of specific anime otaku, and so to pump herself up, especially when she's in a delirious state, she finds encouragement, thinking that she is acting like a magical girl, a proper magical girl, and I think that's kind of neat. But that is the nicest thing I could say about that show, which I otherwise think is bad. All right, so we need two. Great. Okay, so what about shows I do like? You have to find this on YouTube, but you can just search for I Tsushima or Ore Tsushima because Ore means I, um, uh, which is a short little series, minute 45 seconds for each episode. It is about an old lady who is uh, who has a lot of cats, and she has taken in Tsushima, he was a wild cat. He for a little time lived with somebody, but he has kind of bounced around and never really had a place to call his own. So he is not used to being an indoor cat. Um, the old lady is trying to convince Tsushima to let her brush him because he acts real tough. He's like, oh yeah, yeah, well, you want me to subjugate for you? Okay, well, sure. But he does very much enjoy it. It turns out he really loves being brushed to the point where he doesn't want her to stop. And then later, he wants to go outside, and she's like, "Oh, are you gonna leave?" And he's like, "Oh, humans are so clingy. I'll be back, lady. Don't worry about it." So he is happy to be there, which is cute. Um, it is. That's it. That's all that happens. Like I said, it's a minute 45 seconds. If you want to see a cute show with animals, I think it is a cute show with animals. With a cat. Also, the cat. All the cats are like photorealistic looking, like they're painterly, but still kind of photorealistic. And she's just like a blob of blue in the shape of a lady, and it's weird. It's a weird choice, but I like that choice a lot. I think it's visually interesting. Anyway, that's I Tsushima. Um, Let me talk to you about another anime. My Next Life as a Villainess, Routes Lead to Doom X. That's Isekai number one of two that I'll talk about today. And this Isekai, oh boy. So, larger plot. This is the second season. Katarina was a girl on Earth. She got isekai'd um, via death, presumed death, and she is now in the body of Katarina Klaus, who in should be a mean-spirited, evil lady, but isn't because Katarina's in charge. She's living in this fantasy world that was a dating game that she played. So she is awoken as the villainess of a dating game, and she has survived her first year of high school, which was the plot of the game. Was like the events that were taking place where Maria was the main character. Uh, Now Katarina is the main character, but uh, she has been, as of the last episode, and now in dealing with this episode, she got kidnapped. Our girl got kidnapped, and so that's been fucking weird. Of course, Katarina is dealing with it pretty well because she's just a nice person, so she is making do. Um, she's also a little, just a little dumb. So she's like, I'm figuring it out. Um, She wakes up. She meets a blue-haired man that we've never seen before, and Selena, who we met in episode one. And I forgot that we met her in episode one. I need to be reminded through context clues because Katarina was like, "Selena, what? What are you doing here?" So Selena is engaged to Ian, who is Prince Jordo's older brother. The prince and Katarina are engaged. Jordo is like third in line or fourth in line, depending, to be king. Um, but it should be Jeffrey. But for whatever reason, Ian has pursued that. Uh, but it sounds like some people are like, "Hey, Jordo's like gonna be king, so he should be king." This dude gets it. This young man gets it. So apparently, someone has convinced, most likely the dude with blue hair, Rufus, has convinced Selena, who has like a lower opinion of herself because the other fiancés have so much more going on. But she's just like, yeah, um, I'm doing this. He doesn't know. I want Jordo to say like, hey, I'm going to revoke my claim on the throne, and then that'll help Ian out. Uh, and then she's like, yeah, and then I'll deal with whatever happens. But that doesn't. So here's the thing. Not only does that not seem like a thing she would do, it's also very clear very quickly that Rufus is the person actually behind all this. And then we find out at the end of the episode, it's also about having uh, Jordo not be king and then or want to be king, and then also removing Ian from the equation, so Ian would take the fall for all of this most likely, which is totally accurate. That he would face some consequences. Um, and so you gotta wonder: is Jeffrey behind all of this? Is the oldest brother behind all of the action that's happening here? Um, Also, there's a little thing that happens right now that's fun that I really liked was um, so everyone in the show is in love with Katarina, and not everyone knows that other people are in love with her. Uh, but just about everybody is. So Mary is another noble person who is engaged to be married to Alan. Alan is clearly in love with Katerina. Mary's also in love with Katerina, and they decided to continue uh, their engagement, knowing that the other one is like not interested in pursuing that. But they're like, no, I don't know. Let's just keep pretending this because I have somebody that I want to marry. And the other person's like, oh, I have someone I want to marry, that I'm holding out hope for. And they don't say who it is, but it's very clear that it's Katerina. So I just like that they're like now in a fiance ship of convenience. Also, Katerina like is just like, no, I don't think Jordan, like, he wouldn't give up the throne for me. And they're like, yeah, he would. He loves you. She apparently, as always, is clueless that all these people are really into her. She definitely still thinks that her fiance is not, in love with her, which is very, very like, come on, girl. Like, I know you're supposed to be a little dumb, but like, come on. That dude is crazy about you, like, very clearly, head over heels in love with you. What are you talking about? Um, let's see. One. We're working on the arms. Look, we already completed the legs. This is such a weird kit that we built the weapons and then we started with the feet and worked our way up to the legs and now we're building one of the arms. This is a strange little kit. I'm liking it, but it is weird. Anyway, let's jump over to Remake Our Life. This is not an isekai, but it does have some magical stuff happened because it involves time travel. Most likely the consciousness of one character in the show. So, what is the show about? If you have not watched the show and you are like, I do not know what this is about, Pat, can you tell me? I will tell you about Remake Our Life. Our main character's name is Kyoya, and he's things did not work out the way he would have liked. He could have gone to art school in the back in the old days of 2006. He could have gone to art school, but now it's 2016. He went to business school, but he still made a go of it because the business decision, the business stuff that he ended up getting into was he ended up working for a company that made games, and they made shitty games that no one liked, and then he got fired or the company closed. And then he ended up on a cool place making cool games, but they ended up not it didn't work out. And his regret is, you know, I'm 28. These things have didn't work out. I really regret not going to art school. And then he wakes up and he's got the mind of him at 28, the memories of him at 28. But our dude is all right, I'm just gonna try to get this right here. Our dude is 18 again, and he hasn't, this 18-year-old has not decided what school he's going to. So he's like, well, I'm fucking going to art school. I'm gonna go to visual art school, I'm gonna go to an art school and do the visual art program, and we'll see. Like, I might end up being a producer. I don't know. I'm gonna try follow my dream. And the cool thing about this show is, so like, because you can do this shit. One of the people he lives with, who is a friend of his now, and he's working with her, she in 10 years really got him through a rough time. Her art really spoke to him. Uh, Another of his roommates wrote some things that he really liked. He doesn't know about the other roommates in there. One of his classmates, what's her name? Kawasagawa, was his boss at his second job, the one that looked like it might work out, where he would actually get to help work on a cool game. Um, so he's in this class, this what they called the Platinum Generation, which is a silly name, but I'll let it go. But he's in this class with these people, and he doesn't think he's necessarily talented, but he knows he can get stuff done because he's used to working on. He's spent time in the real world. He knows how some of that stuff works, which they don't because they are 18-year-olds. So he knows how to cook for himself and clean up after himself and like not be late for his part-time job. Like he gets it. Anyway, the four roommates were supposed to work on a short film project, and one of them fucked up and borrowed a digital, like a very nice camera, but not a video camera. Like they fucked up. They just fucked up. And they're like, okay, well, we'll just have to get an incomplete and we'll try again next. He's like, no, we can make this work. And so at first, we don't know how he made that work. We don't know what he did, but uh, there's a screening because part of the grade is screening in front of people and seeing what the crowd reaction is to. Because it's like, hey, art is art, but also once you make an art, there's an audience, and that's part of the process. So he didn't get a replacement camera, but what he did was he was like, oh, well, in my adult life, I had to make trailers with just images, with no video sources, with no budget. I'm sure this school has equipment, like has editing bays. I'm sure they have like 10 years from him video stuff that I can use or like, you know, let's do it. So he changes the script around. So now it's like a bunch of images and with a little bit, someone had like a camera phone or a digital camera. So they got a little bit of video. And he joins the fine arts club, which happened in the second episode where they were being recruited in exchange for like advice on how to take like still photography for this kind of project, like stills. Like he gets some practical advice from an upperclassman who's just happy to have members in the club so the fine arts club can continue. Um, which is just like a nice little like, oh, okay, that's why we had that scene in the last episode. I was wondering why we had this scene, and now I know. Um, but yeah, a lot of stuff just like comes together and he pulls it off. And it's not what they wanted. It gets second place. It's not what they wanted to make, but it fires up the other people because he came through in a clincher. Uh, and so they're like, okay, well, next time we're going to get our revenge, quote unquote. But it's like friendly revenge. It's not like, it's not mean. It's like, we're going to show you, all the stuff we can do. We're going to do it right next time. Um, they're not going to show him up. And for him, it's just like he saved the day and he made something creative and he used the skills he has, which he's still like questioning why he's there because he doesn't think he has the talent. So I don't know, it's a feel good, cool thing where it's like, oh shit, that's cool. And then their teacher is like, hey, Kawasagawa, I want you to work with that crew uh, next semester on a project. Um, and she's like, well, I guess I'm interested in seeing like how talented he is. Um, and it turns out, which I should have figured because they're both redheads that look similar, but like it's anime, so you never know. Um, that the teacher is Kawasagawa's older sister, which like now I'm like, oh, duh, that's obvious. Anyway, um, we get this moment where Nanako invites Kyoya to do some singing and karaoke. Um, and I thought this was going to be like, oh, we're going to find out she's an excellent singer and she like made a song that he remembers and like it's going to like connect the dots there of like, oh, this is also a Platinum Generation member. Um, but she's a terrible singer. But maybe she's good. They're gonna like work together. I don't know. It's kind of a cute little thing, and you're like, well, maybe she becomes a good singer because of him. But wouldn't she have done that in the past too? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what happens with that. But it was a cute little moment. Anyway, I do want to point this out, folks. The weirdest thing about this episode is that she sings a song that is a real song. Generally, if you were in karaoke in an anime, you will play. They will have you play a song, like that is a theme from the show, sometimes, or it is like a made up song that isn't real. Maybe you're singing the opening of that show. No, she sings. I gotta look it up because I can't remember the name of it. Um, what is it? What is the song? Uh, Sobakasu, which is the first opening of Rurouni Kenshin. So I look, do the dates line up? Would an 18-year-old in 2006 sing the first theme to Rurouni Kenshin in karaoke? Possibly. I mean, it's two female singers singing the song, so it's possible. It's just really weird. It started playing, and not a lot of it played, but it was really weird because it was just like, did they license a fucking song, like a known quantity song? Like that's just so weird. 24 and 25. Did I pull the right ones out of here? No, I didn't. Okay. All right. I pulled the wrong. File this out. Anyway, it was fucking weird as hell, y'all. It's real weird to hear the opening of the first theme to Rurouni Kenshin, but I think that is a cool thing that happened in this anime. Anyway, they go to a party. They're cute together, which is nice. And the Fine Arts Club has like a welcome party because now the three of them are members of the club. Uh, and Mikiko is my favorite. He's an opera singer. He just seems like a fun minor character that maybe someday will be important, but also possibly could never be important in the show. But just seems neat, and so I want to give him a shout out because he seems like a cool character. Um, and then on the way back from that, Shinoaki confesses that she is considering. Um, she loves art, and but she can't figure out a way to make it work, and she's like, I've been thinking about giving it up and just getting into some other entertainment stuff and working behind the scenes. And he's like, you can't do that. I love your art. And he can't really, this is the cool moment. Like, he knows that in 10 years, the stuff she makes touches him and helps him when he is in a rough spot. It comforts him. He loves the work that she will eventually make. That she has not, to be clear, she has not made that work yet, but she will in the future make that work that like means the world to him. And so he's like, you can't give up. Like someone else must have done that for her, but in this reality, in this version of the events, that's him. He's the one doing it, which just fucking rules. And it's just a very cool moment. Um, and apparently, her encouragement has done the trick. Um, it's a sweet show. It is another like one of those like creatives being creative, lovely little series. I'm sure there will be more conflict will come up, interpersonal conflict will come up. We had some in the second episode. We had the issue with the third one. I think it'll only continue with the drama as they go, but also moments of levity and moments of like character stuff and like I don't know. I think it's a very cute show. Um, Also, Kawasagawa is a little tsundere right now, and I don't love that. I'm going to talk about the next show, how a realistic hero rebuilt the kingdom, which I'm loving. Um, how there's a character in that I thought was going to be tsundere and turned out to be not too bad. She still is, and I don't love that, but hopefully it'll be toned down soon as she starts to either fall for the dude or at least like know that she doesn't have to be competitive with him. Hopefully it'll be less of it because it's just not a thing I love that much in anime stories at least. All right, we got our shoulder shield done here. We're almost done with an arm. We're making good progress on this kit. I mean, I wasn't surprised. Like I said, it's three pieces, so or three sheets. So I didn't think it was going to take forever to build it, but it's moving a little faster than I would have imagined. All right, so one of my favorite shows this season is How a Realistic Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. Okay, so Soma is a dude. He got isekai. He got summoned, and he's become through circumstances the king of this kingdom. He is the acting ruler of this kingdom, um, and he's going to try to get them financially stable, and then hopefully also eventually like militarily stable. And he's just going to work on helping out with the kingdom and getting stuff done. Like that's his big goal is I'm going to help out, I'm going to get stuff done, and then eventually I will, possibly retire once I've done all that. Also, the girl that I mentioned who in the show that is tsundere is Lycia, who is the she was the former princess. Now I guess she's still technically a princess. She is now engaged to Soma, but they're figuring it out. She's definitely falling for him, and she even has like this kind of like fleeting thought of like, well, if we're together, maybe he'll want to stay. And she's like definitely like kind of figuring that out. Like, is that a thing that I want to pursue? And very embarrassed about it, which is cute. Um, so at the end of the last episode, he made the call to the nation, being like, "Hey, if you're good at stuff, if you've got a skill, if you've got a talent, like an unbelievable talent, if you're the best at something, come forward. I need retainers. I need people to work for me and to get things done. I will make use of you. I will pay you handsomely if you come and work for me." And I guess that since between the second and third episode, there was this whole thing. I guess there were some competitions with some people, um, and some people stepped forward. And there's 5 people that we're going to look at. And this whole episode is meeting these 5 people. Really, just 4 of them, and then a little bit at the end of the fifth one. I think that's going to be more in the next episode. But kind of checking a look at these characters, seeing what's going on with them, seeing what's up. The first character we meet is Aisha, who is a dark elf warrior. The elves aren't necessarily part of the kingdom, but they are guardians of the forest. So, and they have basically like control of the forest as long as they continue to protect it. It's just like an arrangement they have. But she shows up. She's like won this fighting tournament. She is clearly an incredible fighter and would be an asset for protection for the new king. And she's like, I'll join you if you can help us. We're having issues in the forest. We have a problem with trees growing. Or we need help. And Soma's just like, well, he has some farming knowledge. Like, hey, if you keep old trees too close together, new trees can't grow because the sunlight and the soil and all this. He's basically just like, hey, here's some facts that like I know. And she's just like, yeah, I pledge loyalty to you forever. You have saved the forest. Please, like, thank you so much. And they're just like, oh, shit, okay, great. And then the second guy, let's see. Oh, the second person is Juna Doma, and she is a descendant of these creatures that like are basically like sirens, but she's a human woman. But she has like basically siren blood in her, and she can sing real well. And in fact, um, she listens to his like smartphone, which is just weird that still works. But anyway, he's got a smartphone with like a song, like a Japanese song, and she can hear it and then sings it. And she clearly has a beautiful voice, and people are like, "Holy shit, hell yeah!" So like, yeah, you're in, Juna, you're in. Sounds great. Also, she's like beautiful, like clearly beautiful. So then we get a little like, oh, there's going to be some competition there, I guess. But he doesn't see that because he's being practical. He's the realist, so he's like not noticing, which is fun. The third person, I'm so fucking psyched about this dude. A big boy. We got ourselves a big boy in this show, y'all. And his name is Pancho Panicotta. And he's a heavy set dude. And he is very nervous because the thing he's best at, people have told him is a waste of time. And so he's like, Your Highness, I have traveled the world or traveled the kingdom looking for the best, most interesting, most unique foods. I can eat anything and everything. I have tasted everything great in this kingdom. That's my deal. And people say that I'm a waste. And he's like, You're definitely not a waste. This rules. Soma's like, You're gonna save the kingdom. We don't know how he's gonna save the kingdom, but Soma is convinced that this shit is gonna really help out. Because they have food shortages. So he's gonna know some food stuff that Soma doesn't have access to. So he's like, This is great. The fourth person is the guy that has definitely been eyeing him up the whole time, and you're like, what's going on with this guy? Because he looks a little like ninja-ish, but also a little like, I don't know. He's got dark hair. He's got like this look in his eye. What's his name? Oh, Haikuya. And he's been observing Soma. He's known for reading and retaining knowledge. and their conversation is almost competitive. And he's just like, well, I would have. Do you like want to work in the library? You have all this knowledge. He's like, no, I want to be your advisor. Hearing what you've had to say has surprised me and delighted me. I can offer you more help. And they're like, okay, well later we'll figure out what that is. And then there's this partnership, blah 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 blah. Like basically the narrator is letting us know this is a big fucking deal that these two came together. This is going to be his like prime minister, basically. So that's real good. Um, and then we meet Tome, who is a wolf girl who has a rare talent. She can communicate with birds and animals. And it's assumed that she's a refugee because they're not wolf people aren't necessarily part of this nation. So she's probably a refugee that came through. And she's real nervous. And then she whispers something to Soma that like shocks him, but we don't hear what that is. So we don't know what it is. We don't know what she says that is so shocking. Uh but whatever it is, like, yeah, he's just like, oh fuck, okay. So I guess we're gonna learn what that is in the next episode. But yeah, like I said, this whole episode was just dedicated to these characters. I think that's really cool. I think that's really fun to be like. There was a couple cutaways to some other people that are like observing what's going on. But I genuinely just think it was like, I don't know, fucking cool to give the introductions to these characters that are going to be like the show is telling you these characters are going to be important. So let's meet them and let's take our time with getting to know who they are. So I'm into that. As I try to finish up part of this arm, what are you watching right now, folks? Let me know if you're watching any anime. You can tell me what shows you're watching. If you're watching anything on YouTube, if you're watching, Celestial Television, let me know what is piquing your interest in the moment at the moment. What's got you like psyched out there? What are you like? Oh, Pat, this is the thing that you got to hear about. I've been watching this thing, or something you're like, it's fine. I don't know. Um, I'm kind of caught up on wrestling right now. I don't think I'm gonna watch tomorrow. I don't think I'm gonna watch Money in the Bank, but I'll definitely check the recaps. Maybe I'll watch. I I do like Money in the Bank. I don't have I don't have the right level of what do you call it? Peacock right now to watch it for free. But I might I might sign up for a month and watch a bunch of stuff. I really do like Money in the Bank, and the men in the both the men's and women's bank, like some good people are in there. So tomorrow, here's the thing: I'll know tomorrow night if I'm going to watch Money in the Bank. I don't as of right now. I don't think I am, but that could be an easy like. Oh, let me get Peacock for a month and watch this. Pay enough to get it. We'll see. Ironically, I still need to watch this week's AEW says Lashbrook. Oh, yeah, that is Lashbrook. That is ironic. That's fun. Um, but yeah. Also, I guess I should watch because I want to support Kofi. Like, look, is Kofi Kingston gonna win on Sunday? No. Is he gonna have a competitive, interesting match? I think so. It won't be a blowout. So I do think that that's cool. It won't be his match with Lesnar. So like I'm still interested in seeing what happens with it. So I do want to check that out. So yeah, maybe I will get Money in the Bank tomorrow. Just get some snacks and watch some wrestling. I don't know. But yeah, if anybody's watching anything cool on the internet, feel free to let me know. As I try to finish up part of this arm. We are going to raid at the end of the stream. That is what we do over here. So we will go on a raid and go see what other people are up to. Go hang out with somebody on a Saturday night. Will it most likely be somebody I know who always streams on Saturday evenings? Probably, because not a lot of the people that I follow here that I want to raid stream on Sundays. So there's only a couple people to choose from. But yeah, we'll probably do that. And then we will finish up this arm by doing the old Zaku II shoulder armor. Gotta put that on there. For people who haven't seen a live wrestling show, you don't get the commentary. So say when Cody comes out and says some junk on mic, you're just sitting there clueless. Yeah, yeah. So you don't get context if you're watching a live wrestling show that you would get. Very few shows now. Shows that are not being televised. Some do have commentary that you can hear, the PAs aren't always great. Some do have running commentary, but that's mostly indie shows. But the big shows don't have that. So you're just you're just like, is it Tommy End or is it Malachi Black? Like, what are they going? Like, what are the context of this thing? And they're like, oh, it's this person. And you're like, I don't know who that is. I don't know who this person is. Oh, okay, they're gonna explain who this person is. Cool, they've explained this person. Yeah, so sometimes you need to watch the videos later to get the proper context of what's going on in a wrestling show. I hear you, Flashback. Even if you were there live, sometimes you need a little bit of help. All right. We're going to call that there. We've now gotten a good portion of this arm done here. We got a lot done with this kit. We got the whole legs done. We got one arm. We got most of the other arm. We got to build like the hand and all that. We'll do a little panel line. There's not much. The other thing about this kit is there's not a lot of panel lines. There's a little bit here and there, but this doesn't really need paint. And in a lot of the places, the dark green, the paint won't show up well anyway. But it's a lot of like straight lines on here. So yeah, we don't really need it. But yeah, although see if you made it on TV. Yes, you also want to watch later to see if you didn't find yourself, if you can find your sign or your shirt or whatever identification you were using. But yeah, also we also got all the weapons done. So we did get a lot done on this stream for this kit, which is cool. I will have to put a poll up to see. Oh no, I do have something coming in the mail. So that'll be the next thing I build. When this is done, I'll go to this is coming in the mail. This Haro, this cool dragon tattooed green Haro, I will be working on in the future because I believe that'll arrive sometime before Monday. Anyway, we are gonna raid. That's how we end every stream here. So thank you very much for everybody that decided to come by. We are gonna go and see what's going on, who we can go give a raid to, who's doing cool shit that we want to go see. And yes, as he generally does. Oh, Matt's playing that. Oh, well, I don't know when she started. I'm gonna see when a friend of mine started streaming because she does not stream generally this time of night. So I'm gonna see when she did that. She's only been streaming for an hour, so we're gonna do it. Also, the rarest of rare things, folks. We're gonna raid someone who's doing a craft prod, makers and crafting. It's not Gunpla, but my friend Tanya is doing some stuff. She's painting some dice, which sounds awesome. So we're gonna go raid my friend Tanya. We never get to raid Tanya because she usually streams during the day. So we're gonna go raid Tanya now. Which rules do we get to do that? So I'm gonna go give that here. Copy that. So we're gonna go give her a raid. Yep, Cypher. Okay. And she has follower and sub only chat, so which is fine. But yeah, she's a so thank you very much for being here, everybody. I appreciate y'all being here. I hope you have a great evening. We're all going to go on this raid, which is going to be very fun. Thanks for coming out. I will be Monday, my 4-year anniversary stream. Please tune in for that. Continuing to work on this kit. Thank you all so much for being here. Hope you have a great night. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye.